Have you ever been on a server or downloaded a map from the marketplace and thought, man, I wish I could have something like that in my world? Well, me too. I'm Mr. B-Rates1 and this is my brand new series, MC Map Faker. Come join me on this adventure as we try to make our very own map in Minecraft. And with the help of my silent assistant here, we are going to try and implement things for player counts, NPC support, managing lobbies, and much more. Please like and subscribe to the channel and hit that notification bell to be kept up to date on the series. In today's episode, we are going to be taking a look at adding an online player count. Now, I was browsing Reddit while I wasn't very well, and I came across a post by somebody called FairCity6838. I thought this was an absolutely fantastic way of implementing a player count in your world. It utilizes the scoreboard function in Minecraft, and it's done with just a few commands. So I did send them a message asking if we can use this, and they did luckily reply and say yes, so thank you very much for that. A link to the post on Reddit is actually in the description of the below. Go take a look at that if you wish to see their video on it. So I have this set up here as just a bit of a demonstration. Now, you may have noticed that when we implemented the title in the last episode, you may have got a bunch of stuff that outputted on the left side of the screen. I totally forgot to mention this. My void world automatically has this turned off, and so I didn't think about it until now. So if you'd implemented the title from the setup, which I've actually got sat on the top of the UFO here, you will notice this pumping out on the left hand side. This is a command block output. So I've just set up these command blocks here. Now, all you've got to do is just input these commands, and these will stop the output on the side. So in this case, it's just game rule, command block output false, and that will stop all of that there. Look, if we just press that, you'll notice in just a moment that will all disappear, and you won't get that anymore. So you need to get rid of that. That's all you need to do. So let's get down to it then. So first of all, we need to set up two scoreboards. We need to set up one to do the calculation and one to be displayed on the screen. Now, I've placed all the commands out in this sort of command chain here just to make it easier to implement it and show you guys. But essentially, you don't actually need these in a command block. You can just type these into the chat, into the chat window itself, and it will do everything you need to do. So let's go to the first one then. So the first scoreboard here, as you can see, it says scoreboard, objectives, add, player test, dummy. And then in the second command block, we've done another one. We've done scoreboard, objectives, add, online, dummy. Now, online is being the display name that displays on the screen. So this is the one that we use to display the information on the screen. This is the one that we use to do the calculations. So once we've got those two scoreboards set up, we need to set the display of one of them. So as you can see here, we've got scoreboard, objectives, set display, sidebar, online. Now, you can change this bit here, this sidebar. You can change this between list, below name, or sidebar. Now, the difference is that list is on the pause screen over here, where all the players are. It'll sort of sit there. Below name is underneath the character. Now, you can't see your own name, so you'll never be able to see it. But when you do see other players, above where their name is, whatever information you want to display will get displayed there instead. That's not really applicable for this, so we won't be using that here. The main ones are either going to be sidebar, which is where it'll sit on the side of the screen, or it will be list, where it will be within the pause menu. So that's entirely your preference. I'm going to have it on the sidebar, just so we can see it on the screen. And then the final command that we need to do is that we need to add a player. Now, this player, we've just called this players online. This is what's going to actually display on the screen. So we're sort of using a dummy player to add additional text, and you'll see that in action in a moment. So if I just press this button for a moment, and as you can see now, the word online has appeared on the right side of the screen. Now, if I wanted to put it in the pause menu instead, if I just remove that, and just go over here, list, and then ran it. As you can see, it says online there. Now, at the minute, we haven't fed any other additional information to it, so it's not going to display anything else other than that for the time being. I'm just going to remove that and put it back to sidebar. Now, once you've set up all these in your chat window, you then need to set up your actual command blocks. Now, all you need is 3. You need 1 repeating command block and 2 chain command blocks. And this is what you'll actually track the players on your world and keep the display screen updated. So in the first command block then, for this one, you want it to be a repeating command block. And if we just open this up here. So if you saw the title one, this essentially is doing exactly the same thing in the title one. This is essentially saying execute for all players, wherever they are. And then it's scoreboard, players, add. So it's then adding players. We're going to call it player.test. And then we're going to add a value to that, which is 1. And for every player that this runs for, it will add a value of 1. And it'll just basically keep clocking up 1, 2, 3, 4, however many people are online. Then in the next chain, this is what actually updates the next scoreboard, the one that we actually see on the screen. So in this case, this is scoreboard, players, operation, players online. So this was the original player that we added in at the beginning on the scoreboard. We were using a dummy player for additional text. We're then specifying the scoreboard that we want to update, which in this case was online. That's what we called it. And it's then referencing the player and the player value from that. Now, that will then update the scoreboard, which will be on the side here where the online part is. And then the final chain command will be scoreboard, players, set, player.test, player test, 0. This is essentially just saying then, going back to the one that we're using for the calculations, it's looking for the dummy player called player.test, and we're resetting the player test value back to 0. And it's as simple as that. Now, if we flick this on, as you can see there, now where it says online, it says players online 1. And obviously that 1 being me. And if we just remove that for a second, if I just switch this back to list, and reapplied it, and then if we go back, as you can see here, it says online, players online, and then a number, and then this will just keep updating, just the same as what the other one would. But like I said, I prefer the sidebar version myself, so I'm going to switch it back to that. So we just remove the old one, re-add that one back in, obviously because we've left that turned on. It's now updated. Okay, so I've actually moved everything into the top of the UFO now. So now that we've demonstrated how it all works, I figured it's best to just stick it in here where it belongs. So as you can see here, this is the welcome message from the last episode. So we now have that in here. We have the online player count. So this is what will actually keep track of the board here. And then just in case if it goes wrong, we have remove the scoreboards and then reset them back up again. So if something does go a bit of wire with it, you know, use Minecraft, you never know what could go wrong. But if something does, then you can just quickly reset it and set it back up again, and it will just continue on as normal. Now, there is one last thing we need to actually do here. Obviously, we want this player count to always be here and active, even when there's no player in this area, so that it keeps everything up to date. So in order to do that, we need to actually set up what's called a ticking area. Now, it's not too bad. It's actually quite easy to do. If you just simply open up the chat command, and we type in /, and we start typing in ticking area, and you can see it comes up here. Now, the purpose of the ticking area is quite simple. It is basically just to keep the area active even when there is nobody there, which is what we want. So we need to add, and then we need to do circle. This is basically just to create a circle around. I mean, you can specify from one point to another point if you wish by putting in 2 sets of coordinates. But just for simplicity here, we're going to type circle because it doesn't really matter. And then we're just going to do the squigglies. And in this case, we're going to do a radius of 2. That's just to make sure we cover a good area. The maximum radius is 4. That expands out so far. And we want to actually... 2, I think, is fine. We won't need any bigger than that for what we're going to have here. So now we need to give it a name. So I'm going to give this a name of spawn point. And there we go. And if you notice in the screen on the side here, it now says adding ticking area centered at 808 with a radius of 2 chunks. And then it says 1 out of 10 ticking areas are in use. So that now means then that no matter what goes on here, this will always be active regardless of where people are on this world. Because obviously this is your spawn point. In most cases, you're going to TP players to different areas on the map where you want to send them to, depending on what it is that they're doing. And obviously if they log out over there, you want this here to actually pick that up and update the screen. So that's what that's for. Now obviously you want to see this with more than one player. So if my silent assistant would happen to join me here, you will actually see that the count level does go up. And if you just take him over, obviously Minecraft is a bit slow at loading on different devices. And now he's in the game officially. As we can see, it now shows 2 players online. And just to test then that the ticking area that we have set up is also working, let's just TP myself somewhere. Yeah, I mean, we got a thing here. And let's just TP my silent assistant here as well. So as you can see at the minute, we are now fully away from the main hub. So if my silent assistant here would like to just exit the world for a moment. As you can see, the player count still updates, still tracks that players have left, keeping it an accurate score count. So why add a player count if you can already see who's online in the pause menu? Well, that's a good question. This player count will actually play a much bigger role in the future of this map. The power that this gives for game lobbies and stuff like that is actually really, really amazing. And we'll see a lot more of that later on in the series, which is why I want to get this installed early on. This is all we've got time for today. Thank you very much for watching my video. Please remember to like and subscribe to the channel, and I'll catch you all guys next time. Bye. Ooh, that went a bit wrong.